We're going live then, I'm assuming.
What?
I know, shocking.
It's bad.
Well, anyway, sorry for the wait, everybody. We are getting underway. Yes, very smooth starting here. This is still the EU Challenger Series number 2. Suddenly coming into this game, but I am joined by Pulse.
Hello.
And we are actually in Champion Select already. Ban has come out. Well, a single ban, 3 bans in fact. We have Zed, Elise, and Orianna, and in fact Thresh as well. Take me through them, Pulse.
Fantastic. So the first ban will be Zed. We've seen this all the way through the tournament so far. Zed at the moment super strong in solo queue, super strong in tournament play as well. He just brings a lot of damage to the table. He's just absolutely ridiculous with the amount of damage he's able to output, and really fulfilling that AD assassin role in that mid lane usually. So we have Orianna banned out as well. We did see that last game with that AoE composition. Didn't really pay dividends because they got pushed in by that sort of strong pushing composition, and they weren't really able to utilize that. Malphite also banned out as well. However, that was last game. That was not the same matchup as we have now. Elise makes sense. She's just a generally strong pick as well as Thresh. More of a blanket ban than anything. And we are now waiting for the last ban. May have already happened, as I am casting from the stream currently, because there's only 2 spectator spots in the client.
The last ban is in fact Kha'Zix, which is, you know, pretty standard bans. As you said, very blanket bans, at least just very versatile. Thresh, probably the strongest support if you're just going to first pick. You know, Zed, very strong assassin, Orianna. And Orianna and Malphite are more targeted. They're more of a kind of AoE hard engage composition targeting, but still very, very strong. And we have the next band's pick, coming out. First pick Nasus there by Benched, and Mazarin and I'm going to have to work out how to pronounce that later on, but certainly we have Nasus first pick, then followed that up with the Diana and the Shen picks.
Yeah, so Nasus has been picked out as well. So the first pick will be Nasus, and Nasus brings a lot of damage. He's super strong at this current stage in the meta. He is super strong on the front line. He's just very, very difficult to really shut down, because with the change to his Q, it's now just 20 mana consistently, so it's easier to farm. Also see him in the jungle as well, farms that very, very nicely, and Wither is just super strong to lock down the AD carry. We also have Diana and Shen picked up. Shen looking for the global presence, and maybe looking to split push if the team actually gets ahead, and Diana can also fulfill that same role as well as assassinating that backline.
Yeah, you have that extreme threat that comes out from that Diana, and it looks like up against that, I'm going to be seeing that Zyra, possibly looking for like a counter engage from Zyra, and Misfortune obviously synergizes pretty well with most kind of AoE compositions at the moment, does really well in the early game too, very strong, high damage carry, lacks that escape, lacks that CC, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her do extremely well, just that incredible bullet time. Ultimate is just so much damage if you can put it across the right number of people, and her mid-game dominance as a result is pretty much unmatched just in terms of team fight presence, and it looks like up against that is going to be possibly a Varus pickup, probably a Sona as well. I wouldn't be surprised in fact to see that Varus. Varus is obviously kind of the other common AD carry these days. Zyra isn't necessarily a counter to Diana in the laning phase if you run that Zyra, but Zyra support is a very, very strong disengage tool against that Diana. So anyway, Varus and Sona just being hovered over at the moment.
Yeah, Zyra brings a lot of zoning presence in that bot lane, and we generally do see Zyra in that bot lane. She brings a lot of damage to the table as well, because her base damage is absurdly high. She brings a lot of utility as well, and a lot of control with those plants. And that will be Sona and Varus locked in. Varus does a lot of damage as well with that Sona. Don't see Sona too much nowadays with all the supports like Thresh and Zyra and Lulu, but it's nice to see that coming out once again. And a lot of damage in that lane, just very, very consistent in that laning phase, lots of presence. However, we do also have the potential Lee Sin pickup, maybe looking for a strong early game. Interesting that they might go for that with the Nasus, but they are just choosing to swap up at the moment. Probably comment more on that when they lock in.
Yeah, hovering over Yorick actually at the moment. I would be surprised to see Yorick at the moment. He doesn't tend to do too brilliantly against that Shen there. I'm very interested to see what they're going for here. They're switching to Soraka. Could be looking for that support Soraka with the Misfortune bottom lane, and then having that Zyra go mid it is looking more and more likely, in fact, that we are going to be seeing a Zyra mid, which is a little less common than the support Zyra, but she does have some really strong damage potential on top of that on top of that CC that she just puts out all over the map. Obviously, don't know if she'll have an easy time against Diana, because it tends to be the case if you're playing that kind of keep away, poking kind of AP carry in that mid. She won't do too well if Diana can manage to get in, but she does have that grasping root. She does have that lockdown from her ult. She can just keep people very, very much at distance. And yeah, we have seen a Rammus lock in.
Interesting, could be a placeholder. Haven't actually heard anything from the teams just as yet. Rammus doesn't, actually we do have some messages from the team. Nasus, not Nasus, Rammus doesn't really fit in the meta currently because we are looking for, yeah, that will be Leona in fact, but Rammus is generally considered more of a support jungler, not a damage jungler, and we are usually looking at the junglers to either have global presence like Shen, have strong ganks, or even be a carry jungler like Vi, or like Jarvan, some of the strongest junglers at the moment. So having that Rammus, doesn't make sense, and that will be swapped in for Leona as a placeholder because they may not actually have had that champion themselves.
I was actually messaged there by YoloZilla saying that Zyra was the placeholder pick for Leona. So Rammus could actually still be being run. Either that or YoloZilla is trolling me and has deceived me greatly. Rammus is an extremely uncommon pick at the moment because his clear is not very safe. I mean, you can start like a machete 5 pods, put all your points into your W, which gives you the best clear you can, and still not really have enough health to safely gank after your first clear hitting level 4. It's a little bit risky, but he is still potentially extremely powerful. He was nerfed for a very good reason, because he had some incredibly strong ganks. He came in with so much damage. Yes, I think YoloZilla was in fact lying to me, but he has admitted that to me now. But thank you, YoloZilla. Yeah, Rammus would be a very interesting pick because he's just very bad at clearing the jungle, but he does have some really fun ganks, and I play him sometimes. I don't play jungle, but I do play him sometimes. So we are now going to be seeing some troll bans while they have remade this lobby, and then I think we will be seeing the same picks, well, obviously barring the placeholder.
Yeah, so that will in fact be Zyra mid, which is fairly interesting. Don't see Zyra too much nowadays, but she does bring a lot of damage to the table and a lot of control. A lot like Orianna in that respect, with the control, with his plant, with the AoE CC, and the Stronger Thorns as well. So interesting to see that come out. And then Leona will be down at bottom with someone, because I have goldfish memory, I can't remember what the AD carry was.
Sorry, Varus or Misfortune? Those were the two.
It'll be Misfortune
AD
then, I think. Yes, Misfortune. It'll be Misfortune with Leona, and a lot of damage coming from the table, strong all-in potential, and against Sona and Varus as well. So if Sona puts one foot wrong, there we go, then she will be completely bursted down by that strong burst from Misfortune and Leona proccing that passive.
Yeah, it's just Sona has the squishiest start of any support, and it's almost not something you want to build that much tankiness early on either. I mean, Aegis of the Legion is really nice, but it's quite an expensive item for support, and you actually really do like some cooldown reduction on that Sona for that ultimate, which obviously has a very long base cooldown at level 1. But yeah, she has that potential to just insta-die if you're in the wrong situation at the wrong time, because obviously that burst coming out of Misfortune at level 2 is probably among the highest of any AD carry. It certainly works well with that Leona. And we are possibly seeing some troll summoners while we are waiting, but I wouldn't expect to see Misfortune running Ghost here. Let's say that.
Yeah, Ghost is fairly good for AD carries because it allows them more kiting potential in those team fights, but Flash is really too good to pass up. Getting out of those situations as, maybe one of the assassins jumps on you, especially Mazarin on that Diana, will need a Flash to get away from that, unless they have stellar positioning, but otherwise it's probably not going to be Ghost. However, Nasus might actually go for Ghost. He is he does well jumping into that ultimate form. No one really wants to get into a fight with him, and having that Ghost allows him to just basically keep up with that back line and keep him in that team fight.
Yeah, obviously Ghost on Nasus is really good. Ghost on Misfortune, very much less so, but yeah, switching to Flash Barrier at the very last second there. So obviously that's the standard setup pretty much nowadays for an AD carry. You get that Flash, especially on an AD carry like Misfortune, who doesn't have an innate escape. You get that Flash, obviously puts that distance between you, and Barrier also helps to keep you alive. And unlike Cleanse, it also helps you if you end up in a straight up damage trade in that early game with your enemy AD carry. Otherwise, if you take Cleanse, it's probably the better late game survivability spell, but you do obviously want to have that Barrier in order to survive in a straight up 1v1, because you will obviously get more health saved as a result of it.
Yeah, definitely. So we will be jumping into a quick commercial break, and after that we will be jumping into a game with Benched versus GamingGear. See you soon.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the EU West Challenger Series number 2. I am Spuddington, and I am joined today by Pulse.
Hello.
We are just heading into the game. I am on the loading screen currently between Benched Gaming and GamingGear. So we will be seeing GamingGear wearing the purple trousers on my screen, and Benched wearing the blue, which actually translates to be red and blue. But you know, that's just how it goes. And we have actually got a pause.
Yes, I'm on the loading screen currently, and Gornagao has 700 ping. So I'm going to assume it's that, but I think they are ready. Yep, NASA's lot of ping. Not going to read out the rest of the
Shocking.
chat.
Let's just spend our time. Well, we are experienced in covering for these pauses now, but 700 ping is yeah, no, I wouldn't ever want to play League of Legends, or to be honest, anything else other than like Minesweeper with 700 ping. I don't know if there is. There might be an online version of Minesweeper. You never know. Someone will have made it.
There is. It's bad.
Oh, that's sad. Oh well. But we are actually going to probably have time to talk quite a significant amount about the compositions that both of these teams are running. So, first thing that strikes me, basically, is that Benched has a lot of AoE. And actually, so does GamingGear. I mean, both of them are running quite a lot. They have that Sona, they have that Kennen, they have that Varus Chain of Corruption, which isn't AoE per se, but it does affect multiple people in a teamfight situation. Crowded situations are better. Diana also doing quite a lot of AoE in that she pulls people in, and her Q can hit many people, as well as her W. Obviously, comparing that to the Zyra, to the Nasus and Renekton, who put out a lot of AoE magic damage with their ultimates, and Misfortune, and Leona. Actually, it's looking like both teams are liable to become just AoE, just explosions whenever there's a team fight.
Mid-game, but for now it looks like Gornagel has reconnected, but we haven't heard anything else from the chat, so looks like we are just going to be paused for another couple minutes, I guess. So we could do what we usually do and just... Oh no, he's gone again. We could do what we usually do and ask the chat if they have any questions, and we can answer them on the stream. So if you would like to go ahead and do that, Varus just challenging the enemy team to Tetris, if anyone wants to do that. So yeah, just go ahead, ask your questions in chat, and we will do our best to answer them.
Yeah, obviously, that's not an idea. Two Shens was not a funny joke the first time it happened. You person, whoever you are.
Internet.
So, yes, the internet. But I will just actually mention we should probably look at the lane matchups here, because I know we did a little bit of discussing of it beforehand, but it looks like they actually avoided having Shen going up against Renekton. Which was probably a deliberate strategy in order to prevent, obviously, having to deal with that stun, having to deal with people stopping him from ulting out of that top lane. Obviously, Renekton being that lane bully, and somebody has come into my room.
Fantastic! Does he like to be on cast? Because, we can make that happen.
No, I'd rather not ever share the glory there, so we won't be doing anything of that sort. It seems like he's writing me a message, but I imagine it's to do with dinner, so I'm not hugely bothered at all by that. So, in the end, we are just staring at a pause screen, which is a little bit sad. So did chat actually manage to get any questions out?
Where are the shoutcasters from, and what are your names? Well, I am Pulse, and I am joined by Spuddington. Hello, Spuddington.
Hello. As it turns out, I am Spuddington, the other person in this channel.
Indeed.
Who is talking.
And I am from the UK, and Spuddington is also from the UK.
I'm from Guernsey, which may or may not count as being part of the UK. I don't really know quite how it works. It's a bit weird, but sort of there's like a legal loophole. It's not a tax haven. Where it kind of falls in between the UK and England, and maybe not, but sort of somewhere, something like that. But anyway, that's enough about the geography of my location, or specifically the legality of the geography of my... Yep. I'm going to stop now. Were there any other questions?
How did we get into shoutcasting? You want to go first?
You got me in. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I did like 10 viewer streams for like 6 months, maybe more, and I got pulled in by Kaostv, and I progressively got less bad at casting.
That's pretty much how I would describe myself as well, actually. Gradually getting less bad, and also being pulled into Kaostv. I mean, Pulse was short a caster, I think, at several points, and they had some very minor streams they were quite happy for me to go onto, but it was a nice little thing. Oh, and Bass, if you are listening, we could potentially spend this time to rearrange the champions in the in the order that that their lanes are appropriate, but still nicely played by that pause. We have got to reconnect.
Oh,
Is it
ready?
Is it going to work?
Question mark. Stack.
Come on,
Say
you can do this.
YOLOzilla, who I believe is Mozilla, if anyone knows him. But hopefully we should be going live at some point. Otherwise, we'll just be plugging for time more.
Well, I've always loved talking about time. Time is a lovely thing. You can follow me at Spuddington. So
legit.
Anyway,
you can follow me at
unpause. Exciting. Yeah, you don't get to plug. So there we go. Game has started, and I'm going to jump to live because the spectator client does do a couple of little bugs if you don't do that, which is a little bit annoying. Still, game underway, and it looks like both teams are just kind of... Well, actually, what we can see here is that GamingGear are very much more grouped at the moment, whereas Benched are just kind of spreading out.
Yeah, they are just kind of fanning out into the peacock formation, as I like to call it. And yeah, Flamingo could be the Flamingo, but they don't really fan out as much as a peacock does. I don't know. Maybe a point of preference. But Benched Gen just around the corner of NBS lol. Kind of poking around. They may even look for this engage. They have pretty decent level 1 from both teams. And obviously, Renekton does have his Ruthless Predator, which is super strong in that early game. Lots of damage and a stun as well. Shen does have that Shadow Dash if he chooses to go for it. And the Moonfall potentially from Mazarin. They have a lot of upfront burst as well from Inspiro. And Gorgon now is being chased back by MBS. Probably not going to be taken out, but has been pushed away. And the aggressive ward does go down as he's pushed back. More pings going down from the enemy team, which will be... not Bench Gaming.
It'll be GamingGear.
It'll be GamingGear. And
yeah,
we do have
sorry, they were actually just pinging that pink ward there. You can see it in the banana brush at the top.
Yeah, there's also a pink ward in 2 places right now. Has been placed down by Leona. Lots of kind of an investment early game, but it will give them extra vision. It will give them that advantage in terms of vision, and also the knowledge of the enemy junglers. So they are just going for their normal starts right now, and NASA's just going for that blue as well.
Yeah, obviously, if you can't see, I mean, the purpose of that ward originally, in the enemy jungle, in Benched's jungle, in the jungle of Benched, was obviously to reveal Nasus. And if you reveal Nasus, you know where he is, you know where he's likely to go as a result of that. I mean, right now, they don't even know whether Nasus has started red or blue. It's pretty common for Nasus to start blue, but it's not actually unheard of for him to go for that red buff and then go straight to blue after that with the smiteless clear, gank top very early. Kennen obviously is going to be in a bit of a scary spot up against Renekton here, because if he gets withered, almost certainly then the slice and dice will land, and we actually are possibly going to see Gornagol coming in this mid lane.
Yeah, Gornagol in a nice position maybe to set this one up. He does have Wither, he does also have Spirit Fire, and Bimbo will do a lot of damage when that minion wave comes in. Nasus now coming out as well, but there is a large minion wave. Really can't afford to go for this, but Spiritfire does go down and kind of just giving him some breathing room to CS under that turret, which is quite difficult to do early on. So, meanwhile, Bullen, we do have Deadly Burn and Inspiro facing up against this bench bottom lane. They do have Leona looking for that engage. Lands a Zenith Blade straight into the queue as well. Deadly Burn being chased back. Ignite has gone down, and he is ticking out. Another flash from Dirtjan, another flash as well. First blood picked up by Misfortune.
Yeah, very narrow indeed there. Just one auto attack in it. It will actually mean, though, that the benched bottom lane, neither of them now have a flash. That does mean they are a prime target for ganking. Sona doesn't have any pink wards, though, so she can't actually clear out that vision in that bot lane to clear the way for her jungler. And obviously, Shen isn't a particularly aggressive ganker, and it looks like Mazarin here is getting supported by Shen, who is hiding out of sight here. Gornagol is going in. He has been red buffed now. Taunt goes down. We've got Mazarin looking to land that Q off from the side. Gornagol now getting really pushed down, actually. Ignited, but not going to be killed. And it looks like they're just going to back on out.
Yeah, fantastic grasping moves coming out from Bimbo 8, just keeping his ally alive. But yeah, definitely meanwhile on that bottom lane, they have lost both of those flashes, but what they have picked up is a kill, and they really need to push their advantage hard in the beginning so they can stay in contention in that lane, so they can go for those engages. Because obviously if they get poked down too much by Sona and Varus, which is really their lane composition, then they can't go for those engagements, and that's exactly what they need to do. So they don't have flashes, but at the same time, Deadly Brother doesn't have his flash, and he doesn't have barrier either, and I think without that barrier, they can probably tick him down to maybe, I wouldn't say 100 to 0, but definitely like 70 to 0, and that barrier down will help that as well.
Yeah, and Shen now actually circling around looking for the Zyra gank. She does have grasping roots available. He is going to go for it. Does flash out. Not necessarily necessary actually there. I think Shen might have avoided it, but he's going to tank quite a lot of damage from the plant. And then just kind of wander on out again. We have actually got Nasus potentially looking for the gank here. He does have more health than Shen. They are both level 3. Double buff on both of them still. But it looks like he's actually going to look for this top gank instead.
Yeah, that, however, has been watered, so we will see Gorna go as he turns that, this corner. NBS just popping down the lightning rush, and he should be safe. Kind of fairly difficult to gank in the early stages of the game, especially by Nasus as well. If he can land that Wither, he's generally in good shape, but he doesn't have Ghost either. He is, however, pushing out this lane. Maybe Renekton looking to go back. He is having a tough time against that Kennen, because he is obviously ranged, and Renekton not great at closing that gap with Kennen when he can keep him at range and maybe look for that stun as well. But very close with the slice and dice.
Yeah, if that had landed, then probably you would have got the Wither on top of it, and the Lightning Rush would have not necessarily been enough to get him out of the Pain Train range. But as it happens, he was just about okay, and now it looks like both junglers might once again be converging on this mid lane. Nasus actually going via his blue buff, and Shen actually going to be heading for this bot lane. And as I said, those flashes are still down, 120 seconds on those. He's being careful in case there is a ward in that Tri-Brush, but when he goes in, he's going to want to commit. They are going for this. Hail of Arrows goes down. Nardis has been slowed. He has got that red buff available. Zenith, they're going in to actually stop him from getting the taunt. The taunt does land, though. We have got the Q coming in from Soda. Lots of damage coming down, but they haven't quite got the... Does manage to get it with the piercing arrow at the end, throwing off my judgment of their range. So, well played there, and a very clean kill.
Yeah, now 1 kill for 1 kill in that bottom lane, and they've definitely pulled it back. So yeah, they are in good shape. However, that does mean that that bot lane of Leona and Nordius on Misfortune will have a harder time engaging, coming out favourably. They're not at that stage where they can't definitely win, but obviously as that other lane does pull ahead, it's going to be harder and harder to go for that initiation, and definitely know you're going to pull ahead.
Yeah, they still do have the issue though that Sona is very, very squishy, and she's actually doing a lot of poke down on Gorgol, who is looking to get some Q farm in here while he can, but it looks like instead he's going to opt to go back. Misfortune has returned to this lane, and it looks like he's going to be going for this golems. There is a red ping going down there, so I'm not quite sure how they have divined that he went for that, but it was certainly an impressive feat of map knowledge. They must have seen him leaving that bottom tower.
Hold that thought, because meanwhile in mid, the Stranglehold has gone down onto Mazarin, but we do have Shen now chasing a flash from Mazarin. Will be picking up that kill, and now jumping into that passive, just doing some more damage, picking up a CS. But very clean kill from that guy. Meanwhile, on top we do have YOLOZilla popping down the Cold and Meek. Ultimate comes down from MBS as well, also just keeping him away. Stun went down, keeping himself alive. And YOLOZilla now will be backing up, but at least it's giving him some breathing room in that lane, which is fairly difficult for him.
Yeah, and actually we've got Kennen actually getting flashed upon there. YOLOZilla going really aggressive. Ignite has gone down, and he's forced the flash out. So that actually was a flash for a flash, but that's going to suit Renekton down to the ground, because having the flash removed from Kennen means if he gets pushed out again, YOLOZilla will obviously have that potential to get the gank. We've actually got the grab in mid now. Mazarin pulling in Gornagle now. He is not going to get out of this easily. Wither has gone down, and the Q picks that up from Diana, and it's looking really, really good all of a sudden for Shentown.
Yeah, definitely. Shen's coming out with a lot of nice ganks, picking up those kills and dragging his team further ahead. After a fairly quiet start, we have started to get some of these kills and some more action coming out. So yeah, they are in a good position. Wouldn't say a complete commanding lead just yet. They are only about 400 gold ahead, but that is still an advantage, and they have it centered on Diana. So when Diana chooses to start roaming, she's going to be in a good position, and Bimbo is not going to be able to do too much in terms of trading with Diana as well.
YOLOZilla getting aggressive on Alan here. He is going to be just walking out though.
Hold that thought, because meanwhile bottom we do have the bullet time coming down on Inspiro. He won't actually juke back into it, but he will be safe to go after that initiation from Durgen.
Yeah, so Shen just actually managed to steal that blue buff away from Nasus. Zyra, obviously without a blue buff, is going to have a much harder time dealing with Diana, because she hasn't built any mana regen, and she won't be able to use those really aggressive grasping roots to keep her away from getting aggressive herself. And it looks like she's just going to have to resort to plant farming the lane from a pretty long distance, which she can do fairly safely. Zyra does have pretty good wave clear, and it looks like she's just going to get that pretty much freely. Mazarin, though, has backed out. Was thinking about recalling, seems to have decided against it, though. And I believe you mentioned that bullet time was used, but Chain of Corruption was not, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Varus and Sona getting highly aggressive right now. Sona moving towards them, doing the Q, auto-attack combo, power chord, doing quite a lot of damage, and they have managed to take out that pink ward in that bottom brush as well. It's looking like they're going to be pushing them around for a little bit, with the lack of that Misfortune ultimate being available.
Yeah, we do have Gornagal maybe looking for that lane gank if they do get engaged upon. We do have Shen with the Stand United now currently up. He is level 6, and we could see GamingGear getting more aggressive with those ultimates, and also with Diana being a strong roaming mid. We could see some more action opening up, and with that poke lane and with Dirtgen maybe not in the greatest positions of initiating, then we could definitely see them sort of punting them around. But Nasus is still around that bottom area. If they choose to go for that initiation, will turn into a 3 versus 3 if Shen goes for that Stun United as well.
Bullet time is only on another 20 seconds of cooldown. Nasus could stick around for a little bit longer, but he is unfortunately in a situation where he is relying on Leona to make that engagement happen. He's not sure whether he should stay in or not. He knows there's a lane ward though, or they should do, because that ward was removed from their team. Dirtgen has no pink to remove it himself. Looks like they might go for this though. Ghost is available on Nasus, so if this engagement happens, the Solar Flare goes in, and we have got the Misfortune following that up with the ultimate. Crescendo cancels it out though, and the Chain of Corruption is going to keep them alive. Shen jumping in on Deadly Brother, going to be keeping him just fine.
Yeah, no casualties, but that did pump the Stand United from Shen, and also release some pressure from mid lane as well. Diana was pushing that down with Shen as they pushed out Bimbo Weight. However, that did move him down to bottom lane, and that tower is still alive. Ping goes down onto Drake, no wards in it currently, and this might be the catalyst for the next team fight, or if they actually go for a team fight at all. But right now, we do have GamingGear in quite a commanding position in terms of that team fight if they choose to go for it.
Yeah, they are certainly looking good. I will say though, with the Chain of Corruption with Crescendo down and with Stand United down, they might actually come out worse if a teamfight started soon, because Solar Flare has a much shorter cooldown than Crescendo, 90 seconds versus 140. So there's actually going to be a window where this bot lane with Nadius and Dirtgen will have a potential seriously big advantage, although right now it looks like Misfortune is getting poked out. She is on actually still very equal CS, 90 to 93, with the creep wave going to be hitting that tower. And now Shen has cleared the ward at, as well, he's put a pink down at Dragon. There was actually a ward there to clear. Nasus is potentially going to be coming in down here.
Yeah, he wants some action to happen, maybe pick up a kill, but there is a wall there, so he won't be able to gank just yet. But if he does leave, then Shen might stick around, maybe look for that gank. He knows he isn't revealed because he doesn't have that pink ward right there, but if he chooses to go further down, then he is looking for that counter gank, and the ultimate does go in, looking for Deadly Brothers to go down, taking a lot of damage, will be picked up, and Shen not able to assist his team before that bot lane was taken out. In fact, the catalyst caused by their own lane. And we do have Mazarin just kind of moving down, maybe keeping away from that Drake, but right now that was a good pickup.
Yeah, that was exactly the window I was talking about. The window whereby you have no ultimate on Sona, so she had no counter engage when that happened. Last time you saw Leona going for that setup, she went in with the Solar Flare, and she instantly got locked down and couldn't quite manage to put out the same amount of damage, but the shorter cooldowns obviously causing a serious problem there. And although there will now probably be a similar window going back the other way, because Leona's ultimate will be on another minute or so cooldown, Sona's will be up in nary a second. It looks like that it's going to be hard for them to use that, but we have actually got Gornagal going in on mid. Mazarin has been slowed down. With it going down, he is going to be just chasing this out. I don't think he wants to kill here, though. He's just looking to poke her down a lot. She was, Diana nearly got the moonfall there.
Yeah,
and Kennen got murdered at top.
Yeah, we did have a dive from YOLOZilla, popping down that ultimate as well, and Kennen was not able to keep him alive with the ultimate. So he is now in good shape, picking up that kill and putting some more dominance in that lane, where he was really starting to fall behind, but now he has put some punishment down onto Kennen, and in fact he has just picked up the Doran shield, and already has the Seeker's Arm Guard, not fully charged as well, so he's in good shape if he goes for that trade again.
Kennen is obviously going to have a lot of difficulty in a Renekton lane, because Renekton is so mobile. Kennen usually has an okay job against AD bruisers, because he can just kite them indefinitely, just run away with Lightning Rush, do a bit of damage with his auto attacks, poke them with Q, poke them with W, and just slowly chip them down, chip them out, and if they go all in, he can ult, and also if they get low enough, he can ult to all in them. But against Renekton has that slice and dice, he has that stun on demand, and he has so much burst damage. It becomes very difficult for Kennen, and he has to be extremely careful about how he positions. And obviously he has to build a lot of armor too, because otherwise he's just going to get straight up gibbed from maybe, 50% health, 60% health. And Shen is actually soloing Dragon here, very, very slowly, but he is doing it, and I don't think anyone is aware.
Yeah, Sinner's is going to come in and help as well, just throwing a couple auto attacks in. But yeah, so they picked up that Drake basically for free, pulling them a little bit ahead of Bench Gaming right now, but they do have a very, very nice team fight. They choose to go for it. I definitely feel that GamingGear's strength right now is in that laning phase, since they have that roaming ability and Shen as well, stand united. And if they do pull ahead, obviously they can use Shen to go for that split push, maybe Diana as well, both good in that role. But Bench do have a great team fight. They have a very, very strong front line, great zoning control as well from this Fortune, with the bullet time laid on top of that CC. And meanwhile, bottom, we do have the Zenith Blade just whiffing out of Inspiro. The Make It Rain doesn't actually connect either, so they should be good to go with that gang coming in from Nasus.
Yeah, it does look like Nasus is just going to recall out Inspiro, possibly playing with fire, actually, getting withered, but no follow-up in range, so actually a calculated move there by Inspiro. And it looks like Shen may be angling towards this top lane now. He does obviously still have Stand United, so he can react if anything happens anywhere else on the map. Going to clear out golems. He's looking for an opportunity, though, I feel. Renekton is aware, though, however, and is playing quite defensively, considering how dominant he has been in this lane, or dominus, you might say, in this lane. He possibly going to look for this, though. He has gone in with the slice and dice, has popped his ultimate too, and now the Kennen ult comes down, Taunt comes down, massive ninjas from everywhere, and Shen is following this down. We have NBS Law trying to chase this down, and they are having a lot of trouble bursting him down. He's somewhat of a raid boss, but it does look like, oh, he might actually get out. The follow-up flash Q also from NBS Law does manage to pick it up in the end.
Yeah, fantastic Shuriken coming out, securing that kill. And Shen will also be pushing that top lane as well. Probably won't be able to take it as Kennen isn't taking it. But meanwhile, bottom bullet time goes down to Zbro. Because that Sector Revolution as well. But Deadly Brother forced to back off as well. Very nice engagement from Dirt Gen. I don't think he actually used his ultimate in that engagement because it's just coming up now. So must have been a Zenith Blade Connect.
Yeah, it's I wasn't also watching because I was too busy watching ninjas. Yeah, it's that principle of Sona being so easily burst, and we actually got Leona going in with the ultimate there. Deadly Brother is potentially going to be dived here. He is aware that Gornagle must be in the area, however he chose the wrong route to run, and now he has an angry dog on him. Red buff, Wither, you are not getting away from that barrier. Actually, he does manage to not quite save him, but it definitely threw off Gornagle, and me too, actually, there.
Yeah, definitely threw off the entirety of that 3-man dive. We do have Mazarin coming in from the side as well. If he chooses to go pro, we do have, actually, Stand United is not up. If he goes for this engage, might just be looking to clear the wave. And Shen just picking up mid as well. So, yeah, that bot lane now will be backing up, but they are in good shape.
Yeah, it's pretty even still. Both teams are just trading kills occasionally here and there. Jungler pressure is roughly equal on both sides, so now the question is becoming who is going to have the better mid game and who is going to have the better late game.
Yeah, and Yozilla just putting them down a bit more harass as well. But yeah, for sure, it's more of a passive laning phase right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to be moving into team fights anytime in the near future until maybe Drake comes up and they make some sort of team fight happen. But as you said, it will be looking really for that mid game and late game, really to see who's going to start shining. And yeah.
Yeah, so the question is who's going to do well in that later game scenario. And actually we actually have Inspiro getting face first into Gornagle. Very badly timed time toward. We've got the follow-up Zenith Blade, we've got the follow-up from MF, and that's another kill for Nardius, who is looking very, very strong right now. 5-1.
However, meanwhile, top lane, we do have Yozilla has been altered and taunted by Shen, and they were actually waiting on him for a good 20 seconds and just kind of stood there and took it. And he's still in good shape, so he's underneath that.
Mazarin going in mid here. Bimbo taking a lot of damage in the follow-up from Mazarin. Very nice, but he is now caught between a rock and a dog, so he's going to have to try and duke this out. His ultimate is on another 10 seconds of cooldown, so he can't really go under for the towers. And actually, NBS Law killing Renekton in the top lane. Now, Mazarin still going to be running away, and he's actually going to get out.
Yeah, and they will now be picking up that blue buff as well. Nasus, meanwhile, on that mid, doesn't have that warded, won't be able to steal that away. And yeah, great timing call from GamingGear. And meanwhile, we did have Varus forced to pop that ultimate just to keep himself safe, but not too much of a loss to keep himself alive and in contention maybe for this next Drake as it spawns. But yeah, so all of a sudden we have a lot of action coming all over the board. But still,
yeah, the
it's
moment
very,
you
very
just start
even.
trying to talk about late game team comps.
Yeah, and it's just like action, and it's probably going to be more centered around this mid game right now.
Yeah, so we have actually, I'm a little bit surprised that no one has gone back yet. I mean, between Diana and Shen, both of them on half health. I think Dragon should be spawning very, very soon. Let me just check the timer on that. Dragon went down, I'm completely blind, 1441. And I know how well it usually goes, but I think it will be 40 seconds, therefore, until Dragon spawns. So they do actually have that time to hang around before they go back. And then, obviously, we'll want to be on full health for that Dragon. But it actually looks like he's going to have to clear that mid out. Mazarin, that is. And potentially going to get dived by YoloZilla here. He's got to be very careful. He's going to face check this. He actually jumps straight to the Wraith and does get stunned. Can he get out of this? Renekton putting down a lot of damage, and Gornagol jumping in off the side. Stand United comes down though. They are going to turn this around. Mazarin wants to go in, but he can't quite manage it. Wither is too much of a slow. But we've actually got Kidding coming in from the side. I'm completely blind. YoloZilla is in the middle of them though, putting out all that AoE magic damage. Mazarin dodging around in the fight. Zhonya's comes down. YoloZilla gets stunned just when he goes for Mazarin, and now we've got Shen just chasing them down. We've got some stuns coming out from Kennen. He does manage to get that kill on Zyra there. The plant will come out soon though, and that's not actually going to hit anyone. Can't hit anything with that ability. It's terrible, but it does look like they've managed to get a 2-for-0 trade out of Mazarin, face checking an angry crocodile. And actually at bottom now, we've got Nadius going under this tower here with barrier, damage debuff, and the flash, followed by the hail of arrows. Killing spree has been ended. Very nicely played there.
Arthas, please, everyone right now on GamingGear, solo, all flashing up red as they take this Drake, picking the second Drake of this game, and that has put them in a very, very nice position, juggling that damage really well. Meanwhile, bottom, we had Nardius on pretty good HP, about 50%, with Inspiro and Deadly Brother both on one hit really from Misfortune, and they were able to kite her away and pick up that kill under turret, bringing that to a double kill for Deadly Brother, and also the 3 kills in that mid lane. Looking really good right now for GamingGear.
Yeah, it felt like they just had more CC available, and Mazarin did an excellent job of just sticking around on a very low amount of health while still putting out damage and while distracting Renekton's damage. It was a really good show, and that early Zhonya's works so well on Diana because she is the diviest of diviest mid-champions, but without any recourse to get out. So having that Zhonya's means she could just go in, Moonfall, Zhonya's, puts out a bit of damage, pulls everyone in, slows everyone down, and then the follow-up from the rest of the team was great. So the question is, how are you going to stop that kind of thing? Well, part of it is having Zyra on your team comp. She has a great counter engage. She obviously can put that ult down while Diana is Zhonya's-ing. We actually are possibly going to see Shen coming in the top.
Yeah, we do have YoloZilla probably seeing him now as the ward went down from Kennen. Actually, I don't think he's actually noticed them, so he will be sticking around just for a little while. Lunir may be looking for this Shadow Lash to come down. Just in a minute, he's dangerously near the brush, and now he's engaged with the slice. Won't be able to dice out. The ultimate has come down from MBS as well as Mazarin looks to come in. 3 versus 1. He will eventually die, but Dom's keeping him alive for a very, very long time. Eventually, he did fall on a rampage right now for Kennen.
We did actually there just see a red ping come down on that Baron. It looks like they might be going for a really early one. They have this pink ward, they have Shen, they have lots of shields, and that's the crucial thing that will enable them to juggle this damage really well. Mazarin is actually level 16, and Gornagol at bottom there, getting the kill on that turret. But if they get this Baron, that is going to be completely worth it from their perspective. An outer tower in return, but Zyra is coming in, is looking to disrupt this. Mazarin might be able to burst her down very, very quickly, but he won't want to swap over from that damage, and he actually is going to go for it. Bursts her down very quickly as it happens, and it looks like they're going to pick up this Baron.
Yeah, and that will be going down. I was thinking maybe Zyra might be able to steal it with the passive, but yeah, they will be picking it up, and now in a very commanding position. Picked up the Baron, picked up all those small victories, and now 12 and 6 with a 5k advantage and the Baron, meaning they will have more gold in stats. So if they go for the next team fight, they'll be in very good shape. Is whether Gornagol and YoloZilla can actually get into the front line and stay alive long enough for Misfortune, who is 5 and 2 right now, to output that damage. They really need to win this one home.
Yeah, she is building very much an ultimate focus build, has got that Bloodthirst, has got that Last Wisp, but very not looking to be doing a lot of auto attacks because she's scared of that Diana, scared of that Shen, scared of that Kennen. She can put out a lot of damage with that ultimate from a very good distance, but it requires a good setup, and that's the difficulty right now. The other thing, of course, right now from the perspective of GamingGear is that they are looking so strong, and because this lane has been so this laning phase has been so extended, there are still a bunch of outer towers up, which will enable them to get several quick advantages in addition to what they already have from that Baron and from their gold advantage. And it actually looks like YOLOZilla getting very aggressive in that, but we've actually got mid Nardius dodging with flash over that, avoiding that taunt just about. Soloflare comes down, dodges the Zhonya's, but actually locks her down in the same place she would have been anyway. Mazarin taking a lot of damage, and there's the bullet time coming down and destroying that highly fed Diana.
Yeah, ultimate like fully worth it really to take out that Diana and maybe take some sort of pushing advantage. MBS still kind of pushing YOLOZilla around. And meanwhile, at bottom we do have Varus and Cerner taking a strong pushing advantage, but there's a four-man mid right now. They need to do something to react to that. Kennen also rotating around, but that will be the mid turret going down, and the Baron buff may be going to waste because they don't have their key player in place ready for this team fight or these skirmishes. And now Bench Gaming making a very good timing push. Inspiro just popping down the ultimate, keeping them away just for a little bit longer. Luna just trying to keep the tower alive. Good taunt onto Gornagao as well, just keeping him low as they try to chunk down this turret. Exhaust goes down once again, just trying to keep them away from that, as just trying to buy time really for Varus to push down that bomb turret. And the ultimate coming in from MBS and the Stand United coming out to Gornagao, picking up that kill immediately. YOLOZilla now coming in as well. Flash comes down. Dirt then trying to keep himself alive, and Misfortune will be recalling to stop this push from Varus. And there's a double kill from Kennen, but meanwhile Deadly Brother has picked up 2 towers, and the Home Guard from Nardius will be coming in, and we now having the trade. Who will win out with the battle of the AD carries? It will be Nardius, just by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, that's actually the duelist items that you have on Deadly Brother, because in spite of the fact that he's got significantly less gold than Misfortune, he actually came out very close to even, but it's because Misfortune has built this team fight build. She's got that Last Wisp for Bloodthirst and no attack speed, no crit, and got that Quicksilver Sash to keep herself alive in that CC Storm. But that does mean she's a much weaker duelist than she would be. But obviously she's so far ahead of Varus that she does still have just about the stronger duel. Very, very close indeed. But still very nicely played by GamingGear. That Kennen initiate with that Shen on top of him was brilliant, and it locked down so many people while Varus all that time was pushing bot, because Benched was so determined to take down that mid inhib tower. They got so harassed down, and that meant a 4v5 engagement was a viable option for GamingGear.
Yeah, Bench realized they really couldn't go for that team fight with the Barons up team of GamingGear. They couldn't actually go for that team fight, so they thought, okay, maybe get a pick. Got the pick, which was fantastic on one of the key players, which was Diana. Went for that mid push, but then, as you said, Varus pushing alongside at that bottom, and it was just great juggling of CC, keeping them away from that mid turret, even with just Shen and Inspiro on Solar, using the ultimate just to keep them away, just keep them keep that tower up as long as possible, buying time, and they did that exceptionally well. So they actually came out very far ahead in that trade, picking up 2 towers, in fact 3 towers, 1 in mid, 2 down at bottom, and coming out very, very healthily, and probably Drake as well.
Yeah, just going to be a pretty much free pickup. They will clear it quick, although Gornagol, nah, he's not going to be going for that. That's obviously a little bit too risky for his taste to face check that. Kennen and Sona are visible up top though, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go for an aggressive mid push. Kennen and Sona, in fact, are going to take too long to get back there. I wouldn't be surprised if they just face tank the tower and take it out before anyone can arrive. Looks like they're actually looking to pin someone down here. YOLOZilla getting aggressed on here by Mazarin, having to back out. And it looks like the rest of the team has arrived, but the Hail of Arrows effect is just keeping them away. And even now, they are taking advantages, GamingGear that is, by taking that top tower with nothing but minion pressure.
Yeah, and right now we do have GamingGear just being quite aggressive, and they can 100% afford to be so. They have 2 Zhonya's Hourglasses right now, so we do have the AoE Storm from Bench Gaming as well, but they can just Zhonya straight through it. And you can only feel that they just really can't pin them down in that team fight while the backline just tears them apart.
Yeah, and now we're going to be seeing the dangerous phase where you're behind and you're against Shen. when you've got an open inhib as well. Shen is such a good split pusher because of that ultimate. It's been said 1,000 times and it will be said 1,000 times more, because Shen is just nearly impossible to push out of a lane one-on-one, and he can be there if you need him. He could just sit in that bottom lane and be incredibly useful pushing that out, and then obviously be available for that team fight, for that initiation. So now the difficulty is that Bench are going to have to either look for a fight here, 4-on-5, and end up in a 5-on-5 against a team which is significantly ahead, or they're going to have to wait for Shen to push down an inhib and react to him. They might be able to stop Shen one-on-one with, say, Renekton. You might even be able to stop him going in, but they're actually going to be going in here. Yolazilla go for that slice and dice, but doesn't manage to land it down, so he ends up just taking quite a lot of poke.
Yeah, and the initiation does go actually down onto Mazarin. Flash comes out, MB throwing down the ultimate as well, slicing Maelstrom, but the ultimate has come in from Stand United going down. We do have Yolazilla on the back line, trying to keep them away from his carries, and Gornagol taking a lot of damage. Inspiro coming in now as well, has already used the ultimate. Yolazilla looking to just keep himself alive. Mazarin taking a lot of damage, and the plant almost chunking him down as well in that brush just off to the side. But after that team fight, no deaths, but a lot of people dropping low, and we do now have the pushing advantage from GamingGear onto that top turret.
Yeah, they're going to take that top turret, and then they're going to back off, and then they're going to go back and heal. I'm not sure when Baron buff will be coming up. It shouldn't be too much longer, though, as far as I'm aware. They will want to be ready for that. If people would stop buying items, then I could zoom to the top and actually look. But they're not going to stop, so I'm going to give up. It has actually popped up just now, so both teams are going to be racing towards that, but there's actually quite a lot of creeps in this bottom lane, potentially looking to pressure that inhib. Shen ult isn't up though, so they can't just split push right now, and this Baron is going to be the key focal point. There is an Oracle's Elixir on Dirt Gen. They can try and hold on here.
Yeah, but we do have Bench very aware of that bot lane pushing in. It should be good. There's no super minions really spawning. But they are very aware that that Baron is up and they really need to contest it, because if GamingGear pick it up, that could be the last nail in the coffin before they go for the last team fight and maybe push for that win, which they can definitely do at this stage in the game. So we do have Bench just kind of chilling around the area, all 5 of them. There are pings going down. They do have the oracles that they know they've not been revealed. And likewise, Inspiro picking that one up as well. They are around the area, so we'll just kind of pick this up. But there's a lot of wards coming out from GamingGear, so they know if they approach. Just battle the wards right now as they just try and take them down from both teams, and just making sure that they just keep themselves alive. Don't want to go for an unfavorable engagement from either team. However, we definitely do have GamingGear with the stronger team fight, with just the stronger champions in general at this current stage in the game. Gornagal just kind of poking around, and it's just a standoff.
Yeah, it's a standoff. But right now, it's looking like Kennen is going to be the key factor. He is getting the poke down. Gornagal just slowly getting nibbled down. His health will just drop that little bit every time he takes that Q, every time he takes that W, every time he takes that Q again. It's getting nasty, but Shen ult is actually going to come up soon as well. So they're going to look for this split push, and it looks like Bench are actually just going to forfeit this Baron. They can't contest it. They are aware they can't avoid that split push, so they're just going to hope for some kind of lucky pick on the Shen here. But I don't think they can follow that up, and it looks like free Baron for GamingGear.
Yeah, maybe even from Bench perspective, they maybe just kind of could have kept Gornagal around the area, maybe looking for that steal, maybe aware of the fact that if one of them went down there, they could just have GamingGear go for the victory. But the fact that Shen was away, and it would take him time really to charge up that Stand United and go for that smite himself, because he is their jungler, they might have been able to come back into this game. Then again, better to play it safe. But then on the flip side, they've just forfeited Baron, and again, last nail in the coffin scenario where they might not be able to fight this even underneath the turret, and are just simply not strong enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see dives at all. I mean, Shen is extremely tanky right now, has a lot of armor, has that runic bulwark as well. Kennen has quite a lot of armor. He was up against Renekton in that lane, has that Zonius, has that Doran shield still. Varus is obviously not particularly tanky, although he has built a Ruby Crystal, so he may be going defensive at this point. And Diana obviously having that Zhonya's Hourglass, so they have an incredibly strong diving team. But then again, they don't even really need to be diving, because there's an open inhibitor for them to force, with that Shen constantly pushing that top at the same time. So this is just an incredibly difficult situation for them, and frankly they need to catch someone out. They need to get that pick. They need to get someone to force that Shen ult to be used before it's actually really usable.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely from GamingGear's perspective, they didn't need to rush. They didn't need to rush at all. They scale quite well, and Drake actually not quite falling because Deadly Brother just backed off as well as Kennen, leaving Sona to finish it off. But we do have Shen on their team, just going to carry on split pushing, does have that stand united, and they're going to be in the same position as they were before. They needed to make some sort of play happen, and right now they may be looking to pick Shen up, but he's incredibly tanky, and probably won't even be able to take him out with 2 people. He will be able to just get out there. And maybe the Baron play was just really needed where they needed the shine, because at the moment they just don't have any opportunities, and when GamingGear eventually do decide to go for that team fight, they're 100% going to win unless their back line disintegrates.
Yeah, it's going to take some clever initiation, and you know, Solar Flare could land on Varus, but he also has his flash and barrier available. It's going to be so hard to take out, but they have to engage. They have no choice. Surely they will go for it soon, because the inhib is being poked down and Shen is poking down their top inhib tower. They can't seed this. If they seed this, they will lose. It's just a matter of time. But it looks like they're going to be just pressuring out Shen from that top lane, and it's so hard for them in this situation. They are in a lose-lose situation. If they engage, they lose, and if they don't engage, they lose slower.
Yeah, they're just going to carry on getting ground down, and they need some sort of play to happen. They want to get that pick, but it's probably not going to happen because everyone's just kind of backing off. They can't get a pick onto Shen. He's way too tanky at this stage. And if they do, then their bot lane's just going to get pushed in straight into that Nexus turret. Best case scenario, they can get a pick onto Inspiro. Bullet time coming down into the Stranglefort, and looking for the Stand United as well onto Mazarin. Well, the ultimate coming in, slicing Maelstrom onto that back line, and Nardis has actually been stunned. Cleanse comes down, and Bimbo actually on the front lines being torn apart, needs to back off. And Deadly Brother has been ignited, but he's still in good shape. Mazarin popping down, Zhonya's keeping himself alive. But that, after all that was a 1-for-1 trade on the support. And in fact, flash into Nardius right now, being locked down. Mazarin looking to jump onto him, looking to finish him off. But we do have Yolozilla coming in with those home guards, jumping onto him, just keeping them away. But that middle tower will surely go down.
Yeah, they're going to take that middle tower, and then they're just going to back out. That was actually a really good initiation. That locked out several people at once, and it was a really messy fight from GamingGear, but they're so far ahead. They have such a good team fight. They have those Zhonya's hourglasses so usefully. It's just proving nearly impossible to beat them. It was a 1-for-1, but they ended up losing the fight overall because they lost that tower, and that Baron buff is going to keep them sustained as well, so GamingGear have more gold than they did before, and it's just snowballing even harder.
Yeah, it's just not looking good all over the boards, and in fact, chat just pointed out that Nasus is only level 13 right now at 37 minutes. Inspiro is higher than him, and he's Sona. It's just all over the board. They're just not doing well in any category, and going for those team fights just isn't either viable at all. Like, if they get that engagement onto someone important, as you said, like Deadly Brother, and he doesn't have that flash up, which he doesn't have at the moment, they do have that window of opportunity, and of course the Solar Flare will probably be off cooldown as it is right now, but it's getting that to happen, and Deadly Brother is of course going to be quite defensive, but then again, you've got so much present in that team fight from Kennen, from Diana. There's so many sources that they really can't deal with.
It's super hard to deal with, as we've said so many times, and it's just going to be this continued pressure coming in from GamingGear. They are shoving in that mid lane. They have that, you know, pushing power. They have that Shen. They will just slowly clear the creeps, clear the inhib, start poking it down, clear it back again, clear the wards, and just this grinding, crunching death for benched at this present time. The only way they can do something is to turn it around with a very good engage. It's not looking like it's going to be easy for them, but they do have the tools to do it. They do have Solar Flare available. Dirtgen is basically the one who can do it here, because no one else is going to be able to pull that surprise kind of engage, and it's just so much weight on his shoulders. But he is only level 13, as has been mentioned, Sona level 15 being the counterpart, and Varus is obviously level 18 with a Warmogs now, so he's going to be much harder to focus out, and being so ahead, he doesn't even need to worry about that damage difference between him and Misfortune. Misfortune still actually hasn't built any attack speed because she just can't get near the fight, has to rely on bullet time only.
Interesting, actually, built the Mercurial Scimitar because that's quite
Actually, got the
efficient,
Flash
but
Crescendo coming in from Soda. Chain of Corruption follows that up. Kennen going in on top of that. We've got E-Super Gornagle going down solo, but their Deadly Brother is just unmolested on the side of the flank. He has actually now been jumped on by Dirtgen, who is just going to be flashing on out. YOLOzilla is dealing with many people at once, and it looks like he's actually going to jump onto Deadly Brother, but can't even scratch him. And now it just looks like they've been forced out. 2 for 1, actually, though, so it's a good trade in some respect for Benched, but they did lose that inhibitor, and now Deadly Brother is looking to pressure the second one. He is just going to run on out, though, and those home guard boots are not going to be able to chase him down.
even in those favorable team fights where Bench does actually pick up an extra kill, they're just too low really to contest anything else, and then they just lost an inhibitor on top of that. Baron has just spawned and they have 2 inhibitors down. That will be pushing in. At best they can send 4 people. They may even just go all in and send all 5. But that is going to be started by MBS LOL, just trying to tank this aggro and swap it between them. They might be able to just pick it up themselves, and the Bench is just completely unaware. They can't get out of their base toward, and like even in their own jungle, any sort of aggression. So that will be going down once again.
Yeah, it's just going to be a free Baron, and they are just keeping control of this game. Just continuing, constantly taking control of objectives, taking control of the towers, taking things down. There are now only Nexus towers left on the part of Benched, and they are having so much trouble in these team fights. The saving grace for them really is that they are playing on the defensive, and their team works quite well on the defensive. Having that Zyra as that counter engage, having that Wither to keep Varus from just putting out all that damage, but at the same time, it's not working too well for them. They are still losing the objectives just based on how far behind they are, and now it's again going to be that Baron buff, going to be actually a Dragon taking just pretty much for free, because obviously at this point Dragon is not nearly so significant, and it's a 20k, well 18k gold advantage. Can you really fight against that?
Yeah, and on the flip side, really, you have to look at GamingGear and just be like, well, they could just initiate and potentially finish, but they're just playing it safe, just as you said, playing this grinding game where they just push them in constantly. And again, they're just in no rush. They don't need to go for that team fight. At the same time, though, Misfortune's just been sitting in base with all these minion waves coming in, and now has 345 CS. It's quite built, but at the same time, so is Varus, so is the rest of their team. It's just not looking good. If they can maybe get that Misfortune ultimate off on the entirety of the team with them all locked down, maybe they're in good shape. And I think that GamingGear is quite aware of that they could still lose that team fight. And as we start getting into late game, then they could potentially just push straight for the win if they get a 5-0 victory. And we do have an engage from Dirtgen, and the ultimate Solar Flare goes onto Deadly Brother as well, backing them up, and the S-Low popping down the Zhonya's as well. Bullet Time coming out, and should be taking out Kenny, still alive. So Yeltsin are coming now into the fray, and Stranglethorn coming down. Shen going straight onto Nodius. If they can get this kill, they're going to be in good shape. YOLOzilla will be the last to fall if he can get out. Alanir has been locked down underneath that turret, and it's a surrender vote. 4-4-0.
Very nicely played. They've just, GamingGear in that game just held control of the game right from the start. Really, really good job by them, and I was very impressed at how well they held on to that lead. They just never let Benched get back into it.
Yeah, for sure. They just picked up that lead and just carried on, and definitely utilized that Shen to his fullest potential, just making him split push constantly until they just pushed him in with all those lanes pushing. He made a lot of good calls as well, especially when Varus went down into that bot lane as they just kind of tanked them in mid. But yeah, so we do have GamingGear picking up a very solid victory.
Indeed. So I believe we will be continuing with our caster rotation. So for those of you who have been waiting for Broken Shard, you should be coming on in the next game. I know I have seen a few requests there, but we are obviously going to be moving onwards. I am curious actually to know who is going to be up next, but regardless, we will move into a commercial break while the players are getting into the next lobby, and I will see you all later.